I'm here with Jimmy Roth from Austin Countertops, and what we thought we'd do here is just ask Jim a few questions about where he was before, where he is now after using the LT55, and also your whole shop going digital from manual before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you've got a long career working in other parts of the country doing the same type of thing. You were a court class kind of templating guy for a long time, right? And then you had a little bit of experience with ProLiner, but that apparently didn't pan out or something. But let's talk about your operation here at Austin Countertops. And when you were manual, what would you say your scrap value was? I mean, what percentage of your work did you have to rework?
Well, it was definitely a factor. I would say that, my goal at that point in time was 85% success, but sometimes we wouldn't get there because templates made out of coroplast or out of door skins are going to swell. And, we're working with water. You're taking something from a house that's built out of strips and sticks that are long and straight, not capturing contours of the wall or, specific details that, now I capture when I'm moving over to digital.
Oh, but then again, before digital, you were making straight cuts on a saw anyway, so a straight piece of Luan was what you used. But then again, when you went to install it, you had to worry about whittling the edge of the countertop and spend the extra hour with a couple guys. There's another $40, with a labor or so. Okay. So you're saying 85%. And the industry standard's about 10% scrap, so you were a little heavy then, maybe, and that's probably what drove you to digital templating?
Yeah. That, and by going digital, now I could use the LT55 and I'm going straight from my template maker to my machine, and the accuracy is incredible. The turnover time from templating to creating a file for the machines to run is tremendous. I don't have a guy that needs to drive around in a van or a pickup truck dragging a bunch of coroplast around and glue and tools. Instead, he goes out and his template time's reduced. He walks in with a tripod and a suitcase, and he walks out with something that's 20 times more accurate.
Now so you don't actually remove countertops anymore to do the template. You shoot above and below the splash and hit the cabinets, and then you're done, right?
That's correct.
So effectively, his customer doesn't have to eat McDonald's for 2 weeks waiting for the countertop to be done. So you're not in a big hurry, you're not inconvenienced. Plumber doesn't have to be there twice. There's a whole bunch of other little things that fall into play there. A lot of people don't realize. But so, what would you say your rework number percentage-wise is now?
It's so minimal that my goal now is 95%, and we exceed that, with success rate. So it's rare that we have to. So it's never a templating issue. If I ever have to remake something, it's because I had a piece of granite that had a fissure that cracked in machining, but it's never because of templating.
So, but even then, even with that included, you've improved your scrap percentage by at least 10%.
Oh, absolutely. Now, with the digital, with the digital templating and the digital machining, we're nesting pieces very tight. Stuff that you couldn't do with sliding big old pieces of template material around. I mean, now we do it on a computer, and it's just the turnaround time is extremely fast, but we're also nesting things a lot tighter, so we know what we're going to need in material accurately before we even purchase the material in a lot of cases, because we've been able to do it on a computer instead of having to have the slab there with these big chunks of template, only to find out that it doesn't quite fit. Now I got to get another slab that puts a delay in it, so turnaround time, is critical. Like you mentioned, not having to remove those countertops before, templating, that drives sales because people don't want to have to deal with that. They don't have to in this day and age.
But it's 2 trips for an installer too.
Absolutely. Another thing I would like to tell you is that, when we use that LT along walls, we shoot it every so many, inches.
Scribing.
because all of those walls that are drywall are curved. And the end result is my machine is going to follow that line, just like the LT created. When my guy's in the field installing it, he doesn't have to get out a utility blade, cut the drywall and slide things in.
Oh, but the customer likes that. They like the drywall cut, yeah. Yeah, it does improve, yeah, quite a bit. Other than that, have you used a lot of the other features, like second seat, estimating programs, anything like that yet?
Not so much the estimating program. Pretty much we use it just to capture the...
Now, I know you do use color edge details for the profiles.
Yes.
And then have you trained your CNC yet to accept those and pick up the right tooling yet?
Not yet, but I'm aware that that's a possibility.
It'll cut your cam time down.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think the customers think differently about you when you show up at this versus, you know, the mess you made in their house with sticks and glue?
Not only the mess, but just the obvious fact that this guy showed up with a piece of technology that they're fascinated to see you set up, and they kind of gather around and watch you, you know, click on things, and it just builds their confidence that they're with the right company because, you know, what are you going to trust more? You know, I mean, in this day and age, everything's technology, and you know, that's not plastic and glue gun.
Or a rusty old bent-up tape measure?
Right, right.
Anything you can tell us about overall what it's meant for your business? I mean, you know, has it helped you increase?
It's taken a template maker that could maybe knock out 2 a day to a guy that could go out and template 5 or 6 50 square foot kitchens in a day and come back. So, you know,
And they do come back now, right? Because
they don't have
to email a file back.
Sometimes he emails back, in which case, because we use the color coding, I never have questions. I know what he did based on the color coding. You know, we chose blue as a polished edge.
Mm-hmm.
We chose another color for flat polish returns where there's appliances. I open up these files and you know, I know what he meant, you know, and what he did and what edge needs to be done based on that picture alone. So
Saves phone calls. Right?
saves phone calls.
What did you mean by this?
Exactly.
Okay. Now I know your whole shop's digital. You got a jet saw, you have a CNC, and a straight line polisher. All Park stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And what about for the person dabbling with CNC equipment other than templating? What do you think the difference was in production from manual to full CNC shop?
It's ridiculous. You know, one of my prior shops, I had a floor with like 15 guys on it, hand working with a nice bridge saw, a straight line polisher. But now that it's all digital, literally, I'm doing the same kind of square footage with 2 guys on the floor. Two people. And it sounds ridiculous, but I go through it on a weekly basis. I'll have distributors dropping off slabs, and they'll come in and they'll be like, "Where's all your people? You know, how are you burning all these slabs? I was just here last week, and there's never anybody here."
Well, you got Mr. Fusion and Mr. Titan.
Exactly.
They're
2
good
reliable
guys.
people, man.
Well, you know, and the CNC equipment doesn't take days off. It doesn't, you know, it's good. Okay. That's about it. I just wanted the people out there to know that, you know, there's another fabricator that's gone through this and enjoys it and says, yeah, it was worth it. I mean, what would you say to people that are on the fence and they're going, I don't know, this sounds like a bunch of voodoo to me, shooting a laser around the room, and, you know, in terms of taking the plunge. I mean, there's people at this seminar we're at right now that said, you know, I don't know, I still haven't decided what I'm going to do. And what would you say to them?
You know, you can't be afraid to embrace technology and change. Laser, you got to go laser. You guys, the training's there, the support's there. I can't imagine somebody being unhappy with it to the point that they want to return it. But you know, I've heard you say, if you're not happy, just call me and we'll take
your money back. Yeah.
But you know, you can't have mine back. You know, it's It's, you know, you're not buying materials to glue together. Your guys' times, productivity's increased. It pays for itself in months, you know, or less.
Have you ever done the actual math? I mean, you know, take out the, you know, whatever was the core plast you were buying, take out the extra gas mileage driving back, take out the fact that you were driving a truck versus a car.
Yeah.
Take out the fact that they all fit now versus spending a couple hours with two guys on your crew to make them fit. Have you ever done that math and see what you meant for you on a per foot basis or a monthly basis? Anything that can feed the people?
I can share this. I did do the math, and for my level of volume, I estimate it took me about 2.5 to 3 months to pay for it.
Really?
Based on the savings, yes. And, well, I mean, less waste, the savings of the guy's time, wages, driving around, the increased amount of templates that he's able to do, the turnaround time, which gives me the ability to get more jobs installed.
Sure.
I give it 3 months, you know. If you're a slower shop, maybe it takes a little bit longer, but if you're doing volume, it'll take you less. You know, it's a no-brainer.
Well, appreciate it a lot, and you heard it from Austin Countertops, Jimmy Roth.